panties. Use this if you want to smell like that tea.
You never had to question if you were a man, so why give your money to a corporation that doesn't know if their products are made for men? Try Jeremy Razor's hair and body products. Jeremy shampoo and conditioner are made with tea tree oil to naturally clean and restore your hair and scalp, argan oil to soften your hair and not your masculinity, and aloe vera to moisturize the hair and scalp. It's all paraben-free, sulfate-free, phthalate-free, and most importantly, 100% woke-free. Not to mention, it smells amazing. Go to jeremyrazors.com and use my special code BURNS15 to save 15% off. That's jeremyrazors.com. Use my special code BURNS15 to save 15% off. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Business Talks. I am your host, Chawanne Burns. In today's episode, we are going to discuss Chicago. Chicago is currently breaking records in the number of cars stolen within a week. So we're going to talk about that and what the leaders are saying in Chicago. We have an alderman speaking out, but you don't hear anything from your mayor, Brandon Johnson, and anybody else. I guess Jeanette, I believe her name is Jeanette Taylor, Alderman Jeanette Taylor. She's the only one that's speaking out against this. And she is recognizing that it is a problem in Chicago. Then we're going to get to Donald Trump. Donald Trump, he latched on to Michael Roman's claim to get Fanni Willis disqualified from the case. And they even went a step further, saying these charges should be dropped. The charge of this RICO charge and collusion to, I guess, overturn the election results in Georgia. So we're going to talk about that. And also, this is a breaking news. Justice Brett Kavanaugh, he spoke out in regards to Donald Trump. He's weighing in on them trying to keep Donald Trump, and I'm saying them, we're talking about these 4 or 5 different states that's trying to keep Donald Trump off the ballot for the election. And he weighs in, and I'm not surprised because I've been saying this for the longest. So we'll discuss that today. That and more all on today's episode.
Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad. Looks a little something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad.
Well, thank you for tuning in once again on today, Thursday. We are, it's about 1:35 Central Time or Eastern Standard Time. So you guys put in the chat, let me know where you're viewing from. We have a Dwayne Manziel in the house. Let me see who else is in the house. Put in the chat, let me know where you're viewing from, and we're going to get started. So let me share my screen with you. We're going to get started. Now, for some reason, and I'm not surprised, Chicago is battling a theft problem. And it's mainly, the theft is not with like adults, because we know if you get caught with stealing something in Chicago, you could potentially go to jail, especially for a car. Okay, anything over $10,000 is a felony charge, I think it is, and they charge you with something, and you could face 3 to 7 years in prison. I just looked that up. Didn't know it. I just looked the penalty up for stealing a car that's worth more than $10,000. That's the penalty. So, and this is for adults. Now, but for children, there are no penalties. It's like a slapping on the wrist for children to steal cars. I think one of the main problems with Chicago is they are pretty much soft on crime when it comes to children. And then you have your illustrious mayor saying don't demonize the kids. Okay, when you say this type of stuff, and your kids, you're dealing with demons. They don't respect authority. They don't respect other people's property. They don't value their own lives. So why would they value yours? You have a problem. Uh, the education system in Chicago, in most major cities, they do have an education problem, and especially specifically in the Black community, we're the ones that's getting the short end on the stick as far as our kids reading that grade level or passing that grade level. They're just passing our kids along, and so when you have you raising up a generation that don't have no worth, they don't see any value of becoming successful. I could steal a car and sell it, and I could do that frequently. You have a problem like we have in Chicago. Chicago, they just reported 500 cars were stolen in the past 7 days. 500. And I'm going to pull up some the statistics from last year and this year. Since your boy's been in office, Mayor Brandon Johnson, to now. Now, does it have to all do with Brandon Johnson? I think we can say, because after we look at the statistics, it mainly tracks with his tenure in office. So let's play this video. This is from Fox 32, and they're talking about the problem that they've been having.
Who's doing some of this stuff? What are we doing about it as parents?
A Chicago alderwoman has simply had enough of the car thefts plaguing Chicago.
And there are certainly more than enough to talk about. Tia Ewing has the shocking number of crimes recorded in just 1 week's time. Tia.
Well, Dawn and Terrence, it was so shocking when I saw the actual number that I had to call over the executive producer to look at it to make sure I wasn't seeing things. Car theft was the highest it's ever been in the city of Chicago last year, but this year the thieves aren't slowing down. In 7 days, 457 cars have been stolen. This isn't a typical car crash. The white car was stolen out of South Suburban Riverdale Tuesday.
Yeah, we're southbound on the Dan right now for wanted vehicle struck 2 Riverdale police cars.
The car took off. A day later and 15 miles away, this is where it was found. The driver of the stolen car smashed into this red vehicle in the 6300 block of South Stewart in Chicago and tried to get away.
He's running westbound on 63rd.
In the span of 7 days, from January 29th through February 4th of this year, 457 cars were stolen. That's nearly 65 cars stolen citywide every single day.
On the side of accountability, you do the crime, you do the time.
That's actually slightly down from the same time period last year. But Alderwoman of the 20th Ward, where this crash happened, says it's not enough for Chicagoans to complain about the problem. There has to be action taken.
This safety plan is just not on CPD in the city of Chicago. This is on all of us as neighbors.
The stolen car crash sent 5 people to the hospital with serious injuries. One of them is in critical. The driver of the stolen car was arrested on scene. Charges and citations are pending against him.
The young people who are still in these cars are young people. Like, let's make it plain. When we look at the videos, you can look at these are babies. We could have caught that baby in 3rd grade, but we was too busy figuring out how many jails we could build for them instead of really giving them the support they need. So that's why I said it's accountability on both sides. And parents, know what your damn kid's doing.
And I'm glad she said that particular point. Jeanette Taylor, that's the alderman. I forget what ward she's at, but I commend her. She's progressive, but 3rd grade is the age or the grade that our kids drop off. And when I'm saying our kids, we're talking about the inner city kids that's living in the inner city, black folks, some Hispanics. These are the kids that's vastly affected by the lack of education and the lack of parenting. Lack of a father figure in the home. A lack of 2-parent household. I do get some comments, well, you know, I was can't raised up as a single, by a single parent, and I came out fine. Just think how much your life would have been better if you had two parents in the home. And now things are different. When we was being raised, there social media wasn't happening. You wasn't able to view on TikTok on how to steal a car. There were summer programs, there were after school programs. Now our system has failed us. They took away those after school programs. The education system, our public education system is crap. We might as well face the fact. Even in the suburb area, it's crap. So until we do something about it, we will still have this problem. Until and let me when I'm talking about we, I'm talking about parents, the educational system. Stop making babies out of wedlock. We got to break that. I'm talking about it's a combined problem. We're always going to be in this problem if we don't do something about it. We can't depend on the government to do anything about it. We have to do something about it. But on the government, and I'm talking about local government, your boy Brandon Johnson, remember this story. You guys, I don't know if you remember this story. This happened back last year, and they changed, I guess they changed how they were, I guess, convicting juveniles. They were letting them out, giving them misdemeanor charges. Remember this particular case, the Chicago teens charged with a misdemeanor for stealing a car, causing crash that killed baby, hurt 3 others. Remember this story. Manslaughter in Illinois carries a sentence of 5 years and fines up to $25,000. The teens has only been charged with misdemeanor for stealing a car. And they crashed it into a pickup. And the baby was 6 months old, and he succumbed to his injuries. I don't know if you guys remember that. It's a horrific story, but that has to do with our legislation, our local government, Brandon Johnson, and his DA and prosecutors or whoever he got in office. They're not prosecuting crimes. They're not holding the teens responsible. And I think you should go one step further. If you could find their mama and daddy, hold them responsible. You guys put it in the chat. Let me know what you think. The parents should be held responsible. Okay, we got, let me just go to the chat. We got Kennard, the DJ in the house, Maria Amor, Ryan Foster, thank you for tuning in. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Soft on crime in blue cities. In any other cities, you're not able to get away with that. I always say Iowa, particularly Des Moines, is not for Black folks. I've always said that. Oh, if you're Black, you shouldn't move to Iowa because they only got 0.9% Black folks in Des Moines, and I think statewide is probably like 1% Black. Reason why I said that is because you get stuck in the system. If you don't have things to do, you get stuck in the system. And I'm talking about the criminal justice system. If you don't have parents to keep you on track, to keep you out of trouble, to keep you in extracurricular activities, have some type of self-worth for yourself, build your self-esteem up, you will fall in the justice system. And in Iowa, you do 75% of your time. It might be 85% of your time. They don't let people out in Iowa. And that's a red state. I think in Des Moines is blue though, but it's a red state. So we need to start holding people accountable for their actions. If they're young, we need to hold them accountable, the parents accountable. We have Noble Young in the building, Mike Big City or Big Mike City. The Warrior, thanks for tuning in. Let's see what else, who else we have. And I believe I said hello, Danielle, Dwayne Menzel. Thank you for tuning in. So we have a problem in Chicago. Now, another thing I want to point out before I get to the next story. In Chicago, these are the statistics for Chicago. Chicago drivers reported more car thefts in 2023 than any other year since the city started tracking them. They started tracking car theft. Well, they said back in 2001, it was off the chain too. 2001 was off the chain. Don't know what was happening then, but it was off the chain. Anyway, any other year, 2022, it looks like they had about, and I just noticed this. Let me enlarge this for you. In 2022, it looked like they was just over 20,000 people, just 20,000 theft. In 2023, they had over 29,000 car thefts. This is not the worst thing about it. The worst thing about it is look how many arrests. They do not make arrests. If you're in the industry of stealing cars, this is a good industry to be in because you more likely you will never get caught. You won't get caught doing it. They don't make arrests. They probably don't even try to look for it. And they probably will say, oh, file a claim against your insurance. Hopefully you had insurance, because they're not trying to make arrests. I don't know if they're probably behind. They don't have enough police, detectives. They figure, oh, we just let the insurance. So I'm pretty sure you guys put in chat, Kennard, you're from Chicago. What is the insurance rate like in Chicago? It's probably sky high. They said Michigan is one of the highest insured place to be in, but Chicago probably just right behind us. But yeah, they don't make any arrests, and they're not trying to do it. They're not holding no one accountable. Now, your boy Brandon, back to Brandon Johnson. Your boy Brandon Johnson, a long time ago, wanted to hold the car manufacturer responsible. I don't know if you guys remember that story. And I believe he sued. He sued the car manufacturer. Back in August, City of Chicago files a suit against automakers Kia and Hyundai. A critical defect in the company's vehicles led to car theft crisis. Brandon Johnson announced today that the city has filed a lawsuit against Kia America Incorporated, Kia Corporation, Hyundai Motor America, Hyundai Motor Company for their failure to include industry standard engine immobilizers in multiple models of their vehicles, resulting in a steep rise of vehicle thefts, reckless driving, property damage, and a wide array of related violent crimes. I covered this a while back, okay, when this first came out. And I did say Johnson was a clown. But now that I think about it, Yeah, he's a clown for doing this, but the industry should have some type of industry standard. I don't know if that will be placed on, you know, federal government saying, hey, these are the standards, anti-theft or whatever, immobilizers on your vehicle if you want to sell vehicles. But Brandon, let's really think about this. Just because a car is easy to steal, should you do that? You're saying that these kids wouldn't steal if it was easy. No. If it wasn't easy. No, Brandon. No, these kids have no morals. They have no morals. Just because it's low police force or low metal detectors, that doesn't mean I'm going to go in and steal. There's Kias and Hondas in my neighborhood. I watched the video. Oh, this is something easy. You have to have a criminal mind, low morals, to say, oh, let me steal. You guys put it in chat. Were you raised easy opportunity? Let me steal something. That's an easy opportunity. You are placing blame on the manufacturing companies for raising badass kids when you should be placing blame on the kids' parents. And you're talking about reckless driving, property damage. Hello, they not driving a car. I could be a car maker. You buy the vehicle, and if you drive the car and crash it, if you crash it because you don't know how to properly operate a motor vehicle, that's on you. Now, if it was a defect in the vehicles where the brakes are bad, something was wrong with the engine that caused the accident, then you could say, hey, we're going to blame you for property damage and reckless driving. But you're trying to place the blame on a car dealership or a car manufacturer for people stealing. And to me, that is asinine. You guys put in the chat, like I said, let me know if I'm going in the wrong direction. I don't think I am. I don't think I am. Maria Amor said comprehension coverage covers vehicle theft. Yeah, we know that. You got to have comprehension vehicle coverage to cover motor theft. If you get in a car accident, it's best to have broadside collision. You know, instead of the basic, you know how you got the basic insurance wherever your state is, you need broadside collision. But anyway, Brandon Johnson, is not the car manufacturer fault that we got some demon ass kids that you don't want to demonize. It is the parents' fault. It is your fault too, because you're trying to not demonize these badass kids. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about that. You guys put in the chat, let me know what you think. We're going to get to our next story, Fanni Willis. Now, Fanni Willis, this is very interesting, you guys. I just found this story and I thought was like, oh, can we say accountability? We have a problem with accountability in our society. Oh, I've been treated so bad. I'm a Black woman. So you're saying that because you've been treated so bad, people are sending in death threats to you because you're the DA. I mean, literally. I don't know what high profile DA has never received death threats. I mean, that just literally comes with the territory. And then you took on a high profile case. So I'm sorry. Look, boost up your security. I'm sad to hear that you've been receiving death threats, but how about this is the norm. This is your normal life. You still need to be held or operate in a manner that is hold your office in a high standard. Your mannerisms or your conduct need to be held at a high regard. So when you start sleeping with the person that you hired, either it be before or after you hired him, you are in the wrong. And you have to be held accountable. And people aren't going to call you out. So don't say, hey, I'm a black woman and I worked so hard at my job, and they've been sending death threats and it's lonely out here. You ran for office. Nobody said, hey, Fanni, if you don't run for office, we're going to cut your legs off. Nobody said that to you. Nobody said that to you. What they probably said, and I already told you guys, she's received $170,000 in campaign donation from a super PAC called Act Blue. Act Blue is funded by George Soros. So they probably said, oh, we want you to unseat the incumbent, that guy that been in the DA office for 25 years. And he was suffering all these scandalous stuff. And she ran on that, saying, I would not be scandalous, because that's the last thing the public should be worried about. I would never sleep with my subordinates. And if anybody in my office does that, I'm going to hold them accountable. Now, 3 years later, you're sleeping with your subordinate, and now you don't want to be held accountable. And then we got these fools sticking up for her. This is Fanni Willis hearing risk blackmail situation. I don't want to talk about that, not just yet. This is the story that I want to talk about. Fanni Willis turns the tables on her accusers. This is not accusers, okay? We know you already admitted to the act, okay? So what are we saying here? But I read through this story. It's a bunch of blah, 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 blah. But one thing I want to point out. One thing I want to point out in this story. Willis, I'm going to share this to you. Willis has also received some support. On Monday night, a coalition of 17 ethics experts, former prosecutors, and defense attorneys filed a court brief arguing that Fulton Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee should dismiss motion alleging Willis acted improperly. We had 17 fools. They didn't list the 17 fools. They're maybe her friends. I'm pretty sure Fulton County is a close-knit community. It is Atlanta. We got a bunch of they're Black attorneys. They, help each other out. They're trying to help Fanni Willis out. Why are they trying to help Fanni Willis out? Like I said, lack of accountability. To me, this is so bizarre that 17 people got together like, oh, she didn't act improperly. What the fuck? And I use the F-bomb because I'm really like, we have 17 people, former prosecutors and defense attorneys, saying this, that she didn't act inappropriately. What do you mean? And they should dismiss the motion. No, she did act improperly. She's a mess. She is a mess. And they probably took her begging and pleading. That's why she only got 17 people begging and pleading. Oh, can you write this? And they probably thinking like, oh, you want me to put my name on the line? I was trying to look for this argument that they filed with the courts, just to see what food attorneys is on this list. But they're trying to say they should dismiss this motion. Okay, so Fanni Willis, no, they're not going to dismiss it. And if they do, we know it's some shit in the game. Okay, another thing I want to talk about Fanni Willis, Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG. Greene hits Trump DA Fanni Willis with the ethics complaint. Okay. I don't know why it's not playing. Let me refresh it. So Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene is hitting Fulton County District Attorney Fanni Willis with the ethics complaint on Thursday morning, accusing the Georgia official of misusing public funds and lying about it. They're saying Greene is a top ally for Donald Trump. Okay, and she's accused Willis of flaunting public disclosure rules and suggested that she was doing so in order to hide her relationship with the special prosecutor, Nathan Wade. Willis hired Wade to assist her in investigation into former president over charges related to pressuring Georgia officials to overturn the 2020 election. Greene's 4-page complaint to the State Ethics Commission accused Willis of having allegedly paid her secret boyfriend a significantly higher hourly rate than another one of her special prosecutors who actually has significant RICO experience. You know, what's done in the dark always comes to light. I tell my kids that all the time. What is done in the dark always come to light. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but it always come to light. She said Wade took an income of nearly $700,000 and used it for the pair to go on a luxury Caribbean cruise, a trip to Napa, and other lavish trips. Greene argued that Willis as a public official is required by state law to regularly disclose her finances. She accused Willis of not doing so in 2019, 2021, and 2022. Willis' 2020 filing is public, however. So for some reason, she skipped those years. Why did she skip those years? We don't know. We don't know. Fanni Willis, okay, I'm not going to read that part, but this pattern of behavior suggests that Fanni Willis' repeated failure to file such disclosure is intentional. It is. Okay, how do you forget, or you didn't forget, you intentionally left out 2019, you disclosed 2020, but 2021 and 2022, you didn't disclose your income. Or at least Watan Waiton, a disregard for her duties and the law. On information and belief, Fanni Willis received compensation for travel from her secret boyfriend and special prosecutor Nathan Wade to vacation on luxury Caribbean cruise and a visit to Napa Valley. My opinion, this is just my opinion. I don't think Fanni was getting kickbacks from Nathan Wade. I think she was hypnotized, but demonetized. And you guys fill in the blank. I think she was hypnotized by this guy here, and she was all in love. Okay. She acted against her better judgment, because her better judgment should have went back to, hey, let me view that video of what I ran on. Your mind is telling me no, but your body is telling you yes. My mind is telling me no, but my body is telling me yes. This is what Fanni Willis went through. Fanni Willis went through the same thing R. Kelly went through. She couldn't think clearly. And so, like I said, I don't think she received kickbacks, but I do think she was able to take advantage of the situation that she is paying him X amount of dollars. You know, yeah, baby, you gave me this nice job. Let me wine and dine you. Did she make that a requirement? No. He probably like, baby, I love you. $700,000, yeah. And she like, oh, I love you too, because she was getting D'd down. You guys let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Fanni got caught up in my body. My body all over your body, babe. Remember LSG? Your body all over your body, babe. My body all over your body, babe. It's your body, baby. So yeah, Fanni Willis got caught up. Okay. And so she lacks accountability, and she's trying to escape answering to the call. I think she's supposed to appear in front of the judge February the 15th, which is next week. And they trying to, that's why they sent this document in from her 17 friends, ex-prosecutors and all that stuff. They trying to get her, oh, girl, don't worry about it. You don't have to hold them, because they probably sleep around with each other. Like I said, it's a close-knit community in Fulton County. Lawyers, they go on these not excursions, but to this local bar. Matter of fact, you guys got to follow lead attorney. I was listening to him on one of his live streams. He's an attorney in that area, and he said there's a certain bar that they go to, and you some people have drinks, but some people, they just be sleeping with each other. They go to meet up and sleep with each other, like a mix and mingle, but it's a freak and mingle. So it's like these 17 people that she had fighting for, hey, we'll stick up for you, because they doing the same thing. They don't have any morals or ethics. That's why they don't see it's a problem with it, because they do it. Anyways, but Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's trying to hold her responsible, and don't know what's going to come of that. We know that she is she probably will be appearing in front of the court. Let me see if it plays. I know they got a lot of commercials on this thing. Anyway, I was going to try to see if this played, but I guess it's not going to play. I got 12 seconds.
Welcome back to Sunday Night in America. As the Tables Turn. That actually sounds like the title for a soap opera. Fulton County District Attorney Fanni Willis was already catching heat over allegations she hired a boyfriend with no real criminal experience to handle a pretty complicated election.
I don't know this guy. I really don't know this guy, but he has that Southern accent that makes me want to laugh. But he's right. As the Tables Turn sounds like a soap opera.
Election interference case. And now newly unsealed court documents from boyfriend Nathan Wade's divorce case are generating even more questions. Did Fanni Willis herself benefit financially from hiring boyfriend Nathan Wade? Are Wade and Willis cooperating, or are they obstructing? Fulton County commissioners may want to know where the money is going. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation may have questions. Family court lawyers and judges definitely have questions. Congress says they have a few too. But even if these allegations are true, does it impact state of Georgia versus Donald J. Trump? And if so, how? Joining us now to unpack the law versus the politics is former federal prosecutor Andrew Cherkasky. Andrew, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I like hearing from people who actually did it for a living. You still a lawyer, good litigator, relevance. That's what I'm wondering. Are these allegations against Wade or Willis relevant in Donald Trump's criminal trial?
Well, good to be with you, Trey. I'm not sure if this is more soap opera or like John Grisham legal thriller, because the cards seem to be falling for Fanni Willis. I do think that this is something that will affect the Trump case. You see, what is going on here is essentially kickbacks. Fanni Willis bringing in somebody unqualified for the job, and it seems as though he's giving her these elaborate trips, these elaborate vacations. That's something that we know as honest services fraud. So I think that is something that needs a very deep investigation. But even more concerning now is these reports that we hear that Fanni Willis and Nathan Wade were taking meetings at the White House. And what I really want to know about those meetings is whether there was an improper purpose. Were they trying to set the timing up so that it would interfere with the 2024 election? All of these questions need very serious answers, I think, well before we get to any potential trial against Donald Trump.
All right, let me ask you a hypothetical, because that's what lawyers like to do to one another. If Willis and Wade were both booted off of this case for any of the reasons you cited, a new prosecutor could very well go forward, I think. You tell me if I'm wrong. In fact, if they get rid of Wade, they might actually go hire someone who knows his or her way around a criminal courtroom. So I can envision a scenario where you still have the indictment, you just have a better prosecutor prosecuting it.
Well, I think when you look at the issue of prosecutorial misconduct, you have to look at, even if you can establish prosecutorial misconduct, then what does the court do about that? Oftentimes we see that there are low-level remedies, whether it's something in the discovery process, perhaps more liberal access to documents that the defense wouldn't otherwise have access to. The next level is taking off certain individuals from a case, so finding that there was some sort of personal issue. But in this case, where it goes all the way back to the grand jury time, I think even if the judge were to find prosecutorial misconduct, get rid of Fanni Willis and Nathan Wade, essentially it's setting back the time all the way to the beginning. So any prosecutor who would come into this case at this point, I think, would have a tremendous hill to climb in trying to reverse time and trying to get back to kind of square one. And when we look at how deeply political this prosecution is, it does strike me as something that ordinary prosecutors, really good prosecutors, would hesitate to undertake, because if they don't have a platform to run on like Fanni Willis does, it really is something that could have a very negative it could come back very negative on them if they were to blow the case themselves and lose it in the end.
What should we be watching for? You have a trained legal eye. You've got family court matters. You got folks fighting about who gets deposed and in what order. What should people who want to be paying attention to the right thing be looking for over the next weeks and months?
I think what's most interesting is trying to figure out what was going on between the White House and Fanni Willis and Nathan Wade. Those conversations are key in my mind because Joe Biden has claimed all along that he's not been involved in the prosecutions of Donald Trump, that he's tried to keep a distance from that. But if there's direction coming from the top in order to essentially manipulate this prosecution to be something that benefits Joe Biden or the Democrats in the 2024 election, then to me it feels very much like what they're complaining about Donald Trump doing back in 2020. We can't be in a nation where we are using the DOJ or using our legal systems to interfere with the actual the voting and democratic process in our country. We need fairness, and we need to have assurance that the courts will ultimately allow the political process to work independent of aggressive prosecutors that are scattered throughout the nation.
Counselor, we love hearing.
Yeah, and he's absolutely right. Not only Fanni Willis, if they remove her, who will take this court case up? They're going to have a lot of catching up to do. Like he said, a seasoned attorney wouldn't do it. A seasoned attorney wouldn't do it. And then I would like to know, what are they doing about the election interference as it pertains to Joe Biden? Joe Biden weaponizing the Department of Justice to prosecute Trump. This is called election interference. We know this guy, this low-level attorney, Nathan Wade, went to the White House 2 times. So we know he sat with Joe Biden's people. For what? Why did he sit and have meetings with Joe Biden's people? And Joe Biden, when he was online, they asked him about it. Oh, we're stepping away. Even Karine Jean-Pierre. Oh, we have nothing. We don't have nothing to say about that. We don't get involved in that. And you were directly involved with it. And this is why January 6th happened. Because you're lying to the people. We know it's not a free and fair election. You got to be a fool to think it's a free and fair election when these types of things happen. You literally have to have a bag over your head, blind to the fact to not see Joe Biden is directly pulling the strings for this case and for all these other cases. And luckily, we have people that believe in fairness. Okay, because this is the next and final story that I want to talk about. Brett Kavanaugh. Brett Kavanaugh chimed in about taking President Trump off the ballot. He chimed in. Now, this is just what I found on, let me just share this tab. Hopefully you guys can see it. I just want to make sure you can see. Okay, you can. Brett Kavanaugh chimed in on what's going on. And it says, Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh hits lead attorney Jason Murray, who is trying to keep Trump off the ballot, with a reality check. If you're convicted of an insurrection, you shall be disqualified from holding any office. President Trump has not been charged with an insurrection. He hasn't even been charged with one. So what are they talking about? You got to be charged first before you get convicted of the insurrection. He hasn't been even charged. Okay, so this is what they had to say.
Office.
about that.
He had the opportunity to call witnesses remotely. He didn't use all of his time at trial. There was ample process here, and this is how ballot access determinations in election cases are decided all the time.
Okay. Second question. Some of the rhetoric of your position, I don't think it is your position, but some of the rhetoric of your position seems to suggest unless the states can do this, no one can prevent insurrectionists from holding federal office. But obviously Congress has enacted statutes, including one still in effect, Section 2383 of Title 18 prohibits insurrection. It's a federal criminal statute. And if you're convicted of that, you are, it says, shall be disqualified from holding any office. And so there is a federal statute on the books, but President Trump has not been charged with that. So what are we to make of that?
Two things, Your Honor. Section 2383 was initially enacted about he had the opportunity.
There you have it. I mean, he's going to say, well, this is not the complete audio. If you guys want to look for the complete audio, you can. But hello. Trump derangement syndrome exists in the United States. I want to convict you or say you're guilty of a crime and you haven't even gave me a due process, or I haven't even been to court to give me a due process. I haven't even been charged with this thing. Everybody wants to be legal Smeagol and say, oh yeah, he caused a violent insurrection. He caused it. A violent insurrection. Everybody wants to, be the attorney at law, the Supreme Court justice on Twitter, in Colorado, in some of these other places. I think Wisconsin jumping in. Michigan talked about it, but I think they're going to have another insurrection if they do that. But everybody wants to be a legal expert on Twitter and in these separate states. And then you have the Supreme Court justice saying, you're trying to convict a person or keep a person off the ballot, and he hasn't even been charged with the crime. So what do you say? Just because you think it was a crime, what do you say to that? So this is, and I'm glad somebody of this high up said this, because I've been saying this for the longest. It doesn't make any sense. So that's a win for Donald Trump. And they know if he's saying this, more likely those other Supreme Court justices is going to say the same thing. And even I would like to see how many seats is on the Supreme Court justice? Is it 7? It better be 7-0 on this. 7-0, because you can't say that I'm going to literally keep a person off the ballot and they never been convicted of a crime. To me, that is so ludicrous. Really ludicrous. Then what do we say about the justice system? If it happens not to be in favor of Donald Trump, we could say the justice system is rigged. And we know, as if you're Black, especially Black men, we could say, hey, we feel like the justice system is rigged. Especially if you've been in jail for some bullshit. Some people were convicted over some BS. Anyway, I digress. I want to keep my focus on Donald Trump. What do we say about the justice system if the Supreme Court justice says, oh, they still ruling in his favor, but it's 4-3? What can we say about those 3 justices? They're not putting the legal system. They're not holding. They're basing it off their own opinion. That's what we could say about that. Anyway, that was it that I had to talk about today. You guys, let me get to some of your comments. Thomas, he's saying as long as this case is delayed until Trump gets in office. I think all his cases are going to be delayed. I don't think The one case in DC that might be dropped because it doesn't look good for them. The Warrior, if Democratic states take Trump off, 39 Republican states just take Biden off and Trump still win. I don't even think Biden's going to win. Oh, you know what? It's 9 justices. I'm sorry. Thomas said it's 9 justices. So like I said, even if it's 5-4, I think it's 5 conservative judges on the bench. Even if it's 5-4, the 4 people, what can we say about those 4 people? Are they holding really thinking about justice, or you just putting your personal opinion on it? What can we say about the legal justice system? It's supposed to be fair and balanced. And to me, if it's 5-4, it's not fair and balanced. You're going based off opinion. Anyhow, Ryan Foster, they are a threat to our democracy. And they are. Lamar Copeland, never in 69 years have I ever seen America break the law on the front street in our faces. I think Vivek Ramaswamy, he was a presidential candidate. He was running for presidency. He had a good strategy in mind. We have given too much power to the federal government. And that's what he's talking about. We need to break down the FBI, break down the school system, break down the DOJ, break down the IRS. They have too much power. They're like literally controlling our lives. You can't even raise your voice at your kids without the government trying to get involved. So these are the things that we need to be thinking about when we voting people in. How much power are you planning to give the government? Are you a uniparty person? You think the government should run everything? Socialism, progressive nonsense. We don't need to vote those people in, because as much power you give the government, that's less power to you. They could control and tell you what to do, what to eat, what type of access you have, what type of business you want to operate. All those things, the government can control that, and we need to stop it. Anyway, Dwayne Manziel, Katanji doesn't even know what a woman is. Yeah, she's very scary. She's a very scary person. Lenny Molly, YouTube kicked me out the chat. Okay, Lenny, maybe you were saying some bad stuff. I don't know. I don't know. You guys, so I really appreciate every single last one of you. Let me just share this one last thing with you. Let's see if we reached our goal. Oh yeah, we did. I'm at 33,000 subscribers. Woo! 33,000 subscribers on this channel. So I really appreciate you guys. Channel is Chawanne 2.0, Chawanne Burns 2.0, and this is me right here. So we're at a 308 subscribers. So do me a solid and subscribe to that channel. It helps, just in case this channel gets the kaput, gets kicked off, and we're not putting that out in the atmosphere. Just in case, I could still stream from this channel and on all platforms. I am Chawanne Burns. All platforms, you can find me. I'm the only person that's Chawanne Burns, unless it's a dummy person, somebody tried to steal my name, because there are dummy accounts on YouTube with my name out there. But Chawanne Burns 2.0, Chawanne B on Twitter, Chawanne Burns on Instagram, Chawanne Burns on Facebook, all those platforms. Some of those platforms I do talk specifically about business stuff, because I am a business owner, so I try to give out information about that. But follow me. Do me a solid and follow me. I appreciate every single last one of you. So tomorrow we'll be on live at 8:30 p.m. on Friday. Okay. And we're going to try to keep it exciting. So I am sending all my good to you. I will talk to you tomorrow.